As you guys already know, I love lost media. My first ever YouTube video on this channel was talking about disturbing pieces of lost media. So why not talk about one piece of lost media from every year? However, I'll only be focusing on the year 2000 all the way to 2025, just so this video can be possible to make. This video will also feature 10 other YouTubers, so stay tuned for that. To change things up for my lost media videos, let's talk about lost media that doesn't exist. For years, wrestling and gaming fans believed that a PlayStation 2 wrestling game called WCW 2000 was in development by EA Sports Canada around the year 2000. According to the rumors, the game was quietly cancelled in March of 2001, right after WCW was bought out by the WWF, which would later become WWE in 2002, following a legal battle with the World Wildlife Fund. The origin of the rumor came from a 2-page preview in the May 2000 issue of PlayStation Magazine. The article claimed WCW 2000 would follow a similar formula to WCW Backstage Assault, focusing entirely on no ring, backstage brawling with weapons scattered around the environment. The preview also hyped up an ambitious feature: facial scanning for wrestlers' likeness, technology that wouldn't actually appear in WWE games until WWE 2K15 over a decade later. However, the name of this supposed game was never consistent. Some called it WCW 2000, others referred to it as WCW Mayhem 2, and some just call it WCW Wrestling. This added even more confusion and intrigue to its already mysterious status. But then came the debunking. In January 2025, YouTuber Matt McMuscle released an episode of the series What Happened, focused on WCW Backstage Assault and the alleged WCW 2000 project. As part of his deep dive, he interviewed Dave Lang, the lead programmer of Backstage Assault. Lang cleared things up. The PlayStation Magazine preview wasn't for the new game at all. It was simply showing early concept art for WCW Backstage Assault, which hadn't been officially announced at the time of the article's publication. Because the magazine came out in May 2000 and Backstage Assault wasn't revealed until August, editors mistakenly assumed these concept images were for a completely different PlayStation 2 game. In reality, there was no WCW 2000 game, it was always just Backstage Assault, and the myth of WCW Mayhem 2 or a PS2 exclusive sequel was just a misunderstanding that snowballed over the years. Back in the early 2000s, everybody watched SpongeBob, and because of that, he was on a bunch of advertisements, including some really weird ones. In 2001, SpongeBob and Patrick were featured in a spot for the iconic Got Milk campaign. In February 2001, a print ad hit magazine showing the two characters drinking chocolate milk and wearing the signature milk mustaches. The gag was that SpongeBob's mustache wouldn't stay on because he's a sponge. But it didn't stop there. A TV commercial version of the ad aired briefly on February 24th, 2001, featuring an extended joke. In the ad, SpongeBob struggles to keep his milk mustache intact until he finally shoves his entire face into a glass in frustration. It was a short, clever ad, but after it aired, it disappeared. For years, the commercial was considered lost media. Fans remember seeing it, but no footage was available. That changed when an anonymous member of the Nick Story Discord server uploaded a screenshot from the ad, confirming it really did exist. Then on October 14th, 2022, a user named Alatech12 posted a screen recording of the full commercial to the Lost Media Wiki Discord, officially bringing the long-lost ad back into public view. A higher quality version was uploaded shortly after, ending the mystery after over 2 decades. Before Drake and Josh officially premiered on Nickelodeon in 2004, there was a lesser-known version of the show made 2 years earlier, a pitch pilot created in 2002 to sell the concept to the network. While most fans consider the first episode to be the series' starting point, this early pilot actually came first and features some key differences, including one major casting change. In this unaired version, Stephen First played Walter Nichols, Josh's dad. When the show was eventually greenlit, First was replaced by Jonathan Goldstein, reportedly due to scheduling conflicts that would have made it difficult for him to stay on long term. For a while, the existence of this pilot was mostly just trivia. That changed in May 2009 when Drake and Josh creator Dan Schneider uploaded a short video showing brief clips from the pitch pilot, including footage of Stefan Furst. The video was later privatized, but not before screenshots and discussion about it circulated online. A few other clips from the pilot were also discovered in an old promotional video uploaded to Schneider's Dan Warp channel. Then, on November 28, 2017, a Lost Media Wiki user named AFX6010 managed to recover the original video and re-uploaded it to Mega. That rediscovered footage revealed some early differences in set design, character interactions, and even dialogue. One standout scene involved Drake accidentally knocking out Walter with a basketball, a moment that was changed in the final aired pilot, where Walter harmlessly spins the ball on his finger before breaking a lamp. Surprisingly, Dan Schneider made the pilot clips public again on April 16, 2022, likely to acknowledge its 20th anniversary. However, he didn't mention whether the full pilot would ever see the light of day, since Nickelodeon holds the rights. It remains unclear if the unaired episode will ever be released in full. The video was eventually privatized once again, though re-uploads still exist online. When Nick Jr. first launched on January 4th, 1988, it was simply a morning program block on Nickelodeon aimed at preschoolers, but it wasn't until September 5th, 1994, 6 years later, that the block got a full rebrand, and with it came a mascot that would become a fan favorite, which was called Face. Face was exactly what the name suggests, a colorful animated face that filled the entire screen. Voiced by Chris Phillips, he popped in between shows to sing, make goofy noises, tell jokes, and announce what was coming up next. With his energetic personality and ever-changing colors, Face quickly became the heart of Nick Jr., acting as both a host and a friend for the little viewers watching at home. In 2003, Face received a noticeable redesign. This updated version gave him larger eyes, eyebrows, a new mouth, and a slightly deeper voice, voiced by Jody Nazaro and Jun Mizumachi. But not everyone was on board. Many longtime viewers criticized the new look, calling it off-putting and unnecessary. The backlash was strong enough that by 2004, Nickelodeon decided to retire Face entirely, replacing him with a new mascot, Piper the Possum. While Face's original era left a big impact on a generation of kids, much of his content, especially from the redesigned years, has become hard to find. Aside from a few clips that have resurfaced on YouTube, many of the promos, bumpers, and interstitials from later years remain lost. Also, I know we're far away from hitting 1 million subscribers, but once we eventually hit it, I will make a video titled One Piece of Lost Media from every year, 50 AD to 2025, or to whatever year I reach 1 million subscribers. This video is going to be almost impossible to make. I might have to skip a few years, of course, but I am so down to make a huge collaboration video with other Lost Media YouTubers. So once I hit 1 million subscribers, I will be making that video, and it's gonna be a long one.
Back in 2004, Subway had a strange and now mostly forgotten ad campaign in the works, one that was meant to expand on the popularity of their longtime spokesperson, Jared Fogle. The campaign was called Jared's Brother, and it introduced a fictional sibling named Jermaine, played by comedian Tom Segura. The idea behind it was simple but clever. Since Jared had famously lost weight by eating Subway's healthier sandwiches, he could only promote the healthy menu items. Jermaine, on the other hand, was supposed to be the opposite, a less health-conscious, cooler, more laid-back brother who could promote the less nutritious, indulgent options. According to Segura, the campaign wasn't just a single ad. Multiple commercials were shot, and the company even had plans for live appearances and extended brand promotions. Unfortunately, the entire thing was scrapped before it ever saw the light of day. In an interview on the H3H3 podcast, Segura described 2 of the 3 commercials he remembers filming. In one, Jermaine is driving a Trans Am to a family reunion, blaring "Round and Round" by Rat. He overshoots the reunion and ends up lost, a metaphor for his offbeat personality. Another features Jermaine playing in a basement band with his friends. Jared walks in mid-session and asks what's going on. Jermaine brushes him off and invites him to grab a meal together, suggesting brotherly bonding despite their differences. There was supposedly a third ad filmed, but Segura couldn't recall the details. An additional 7 more commercials were planned, but none had made it past the early production stage. Shortly after filming, Subway experienced a major shift in leadership. The company's chief marketing officer stepped down, and the new executive scrapped all campaigns that were in development at the time, including Jared's brother. Just like that, the entire project vanished. No footage, production stills, or behind-the-scenes photos have ever surfaced publicly, and following Jared Fogel's 2015 arrest, it's highly unlikely Subway will ever acknowledge or release anything tied to the campaign.
Back in 2005, Apple hosted one of its signature product events at the Moscone Center in San Francisco, where Steve Jobs unveiled the brand new iPod Nano. To make the moment even bigger, Apple brought out rising rap star Kanye West, whose debut album, The College Dropout, had made waves just a year earlier. It seemed like a bold move, mixing tech with hip-hop, but things didn't go quite as planned. Kanye performed all of his hits, All Falls Down and Gold Digger, but the crowd, made up mostly of tech insiders, reporters, and business professionals, didn't exactly vibe with the music. The audience reaction was noticeably cold and disconnected, creating a tense, awkward moment during what was meant to be a high-energy celebration. Originally, the full event, including Kanye's set, was live-streamed and available to watch on Apple's official site. But soon after, Apple quietly edited out his performance from the archived version of the event. The likely reason? It didn't match the polished, controlled atmosphere that Apple liked to project at their product launches. Today, the official footage no longer includes Kanye's appearance, turning this into lost media. Aside from a handful of photos and a few first-hand accounts from people who attended, the performance has all but vanished, scrubbed from Apple's records, leaving only stories of one of the most mismatched musical performances in tech history. This next piece of lost media is an interesting one, because we don't know if it's real or not, since the Lost Media Wiki labels this as existence unconfirmed. Also, I'm going to be doing heavy censorship for this segment just because YouTube hates this event. All you need to know that it's a tragedy that happened in September. Following the attacks, thousands of hours of footage were captured, some by professionals and others by bystanders. Among the most disturbing rumors is this alleged video titled "Lol Superman," which reportedly shows graphic footage of people falling to the ground. Said to have first surfaced in 2006 on websites like YouTube, Ogrish, or Heaven 666, the video allegedly featured shaky, close-up footage taken near the base of the building, with graphic visuals of bodies dropping on the floor. The original uploader is unknown, but the title "Lol Superman" fueled outrage for its perceived mockery. The video reportedly spread through forums before being removed due to graphic content. In 2015, an anonymous 4chan user described seeing it, claiming it showed bodies hitting the ground and cars, though that detail is debated. A renewed search began on Reddit in 2022, with others recalling similar footage. A supposed screenshot of the video gave hope, but was debunked as a pre-September tourist photo. One FBI video, NE521, was speculated to be the clip, but only showed plain impact footage. Some believe the real video, if it exists, is buried in FBI archives, while others think it was a case of mistaken memory from early internet shot content. To date, no confirmed footage of Lol Superman has surfaced, and its status remains one of Lost Media's most disturbing and controversial mysteries.
On April 16, 2007, one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history unfolded at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia. The gunman, Sung-Wei Cho, was a senior at the university. Over the span of 2 separate attacks carried out just hours apart, Cho killed 32 people and wounded at least 17 others, with several more injured while trying to escape by jumping out of windows. The tragedy ranks as the second deadliest mass shooting by a lone gunman in U.S. history, and one of the worst the world has ever seen. But what made the case even more chilling was what happened in between those two attacks. Before heading back to continue his rampage, Cho mailed a media package to NBC News. Inside was what many described as his manifesto, a disturbing collection of photographs, typed rants, and nearly 25 minutes of video footage where Cho directly addressed the camera, laying out his twisted motives and blaming society for his actions. In the clips, he appeared armed, agitated, and at times delusional, comparing himself to past mass murderers and martyrs. NBC ended up broadcasting only about 2 minutes of the footage, sparking widespread backlash from viewers and families of the victims. The network later stated that they withheld the full video to avoid glorifying Cho or encouraging copycat behavior. To this day, the full video still remains unreleased, likely still held in NBC's archives. Apart from short snippets and stills used in news coverage, most of Cho's recordings have never seen the light of day, and likely never will. Whether out of public safety or respect for the victims, the rest of the footage stays locked away, leaving behind only questions about what else Cho might have said in his final message to the world.
Believe it or not, we have more Kanye lost media. At some point in the mid-2000s, Kanye West sat down for a televised interview with Bob Simon on 60 Minutes. The exact air date remains unclear, but some sources point to December 8, 2004, while others say it aired in 2008. Either way, the segment became notable for Kanye's raw honesty, his commentary on faith and hip-hop, and one quote in particular that fans still remember: "Dope ass beat." The focus of the interview was Kanye's breakdown success and the controversy surrounding his single Jesus Walks. At the time, Kanye was getting major traction, but he recalled how hard it was to get that specific song played on the radio. He claimed that the religious references in the lyrics made stations hesitant, even comparing the word Jesus in a rap song to using a racial slur. That's how untouchable it was seen by industry standards. In the interview, Kanye explained that Jesus Walks wasn't written for religious groups. It was aimed at reaching people who actually needed to hear it. He argued that faith and mainstream music didn't have to be separated, even if the song's mix of spiritual messages and explicit lyrics upset both religious conservatives and secular critics. He stood by every decision and every line, and that now famous quote about the dope-ass beat was his mic drop moment, signaling just how confident he was in his vision. For years, there's been a belief that a full version of the interview existed online, but as of now, that's not the case. Only a 2-minute and 26-second clip survives, featuring Kanye breaking down his process and delivering the iconic dope-ass beat line. As of now, the rest of the footage, if it still exists, remains missing, making this one of those strange moments in pop culture that was aired once, remembered by many, but lost to time.
In 2009, the controversial app Baby Shaker briefly appeared on the App Store, developed by Seeker Lowsoft and priced at 99 cents. The game had players shake their iPhone until a crying baby was silenced, marked by red X's over its eyes. Released on April 20th, 2009, it gained attention when Craps wrote about it that night. Jennifer Dickens, a shaken baby syndrome survivor, launched a press campaign that triggered major backlash from child advocacy groups. The app's release coincided with National Child Abuse Prevention Month and Shaken Baby Syndrome Awareness Week. Apple removed the app a day later, though it reappeared briefly before being permanently deleted. Apple apologized, calling the app deeply offensive. Seeker Lowsoft also responded, calling the app lacking in taste, and oddly comparing it to Grand Theft Auto. Baby Shaker is now considered lost media. Only one gameplay video, a few screenshots, and news coverage remain.
On September 6, 2010, Labor Day, Nickelodeon aired a 1-hour special titled Nickelodeon Mega Music Fest 2010. The event, which was later rebroadcasted just a few days later, was filmed primarily at the Brooklyn Academy of Music and blended live-action performances with musical numbers featuring popular Nick Jr. characters. The show was hosted by John Leguizamo and featured special appearances by Justin Bieber and Dr. Phil, among others. The cast lineup included characters from several beloved Nick Jr. series at the time. including DJ Lance Rock and the full Yo Gabba Gabba crew, the Backyardigans, the Fresh Beat Band, and Nihao Kailan, all singing and dancing on stage along guest stars. Interestingly, this event also marked one of the final major appearances for some of these series, especially the Backyardigans, making this special very notable for longtime fans of early 2000s Nickelodeon. Despite being heavily promoted at the time, the event only aired a couple of times and then vanished from Nickelodeon's programming altogether. Its limited run led to it gaining a reputation as a lost media artifact. Before a full version surfaced, only around half of the special was available online in scattered clips, many of them in widescreen but with poor camera quality. There was once a torrent hosted on Demonoid, which reportedly contained the full event, but it eventually died out with no remaining seeders. A user from the Nick Story Archives community was known to have downloaded it but chose not to share it publicly. Everything did change on August 21st, 2023, when a full VHS recording of the special, with commercials included, was uploaded to the Internet Archive by a user named Flyless Kyle. A mirror was also uploaded to YouTube shortly after this. While the first few seconds of the special are missing, those portions are still available in earlier uploads, making the event fully viewable for the first time in over a decade.
Trending 2011, the GMA News and Public Affairs Year-End Special aired on GMA Network on December 31st, 2011 at 9 p.m., hosted by Mike Enriquez and Ding Dong Dantes. Viewers participated in an online poll to help determine the biggest stories and personalities of 2011, such as news and politics, crimes like mall shootings and celebrity-involved crimes, world events like the death of Bin Laden, the 2011 Japan tsunami, royal wedding, sports, and entertainment. Originally accessible via Blogspot archive and the now deleted Utoquill YouTube channel, Trending 2011 became lost after the channel's termination. Only promotional material survives. One trailer featuring Ding Dong Dante is also believed missing. Several clips were privated in 2022 after GMA's YouTube channel was hacked, though re-upload clips remain on Daily Motion. As of now, the special is considered lost media. Back in 2012, during that year's San Diego Comic-Con, Disney used the event to promote several of its upcoming series, including Gravity Falls. A special sneak peek promo of the show was shown at the convention, featuring early footage to generate hype amongst fans. At one point, the promo was uploaded to YouTube, but was later removed, likely due to copyright issues, and has never been re-released through any official Disney channels. According to those who saw it, the preview featured scenes from the show's early episodes up through Irrational Treasure, and also included a slightly different version of Dipper's Cold Open, making it a unique cut of early Gravity Falls footage not seen in the aired episodes. On July 22nd, 2017, YouTube user TGWTVHS uploaded the long-lost Comic-Con promo to his YouTube channel. In the video's description, he clarified that he was not the original recorder of the footage, stating, "I didn't record these. Somebody posted them on YouTube a long time ago and I downloaded them. The originals are long gone by now." Thanks to this re-uploader, fans were finally able to get another look at the once lost promo. However, the original source remains unidentified, and it's unclear whether higher quality versions or additional Comic-Con exclusive Gravity Falls footage still exist. Charlie the Steak was a bizarre iOS game developed by Sebastian of Dynamic Dust, released in 2013. A stress relief app, it let players torment a steak named Charlie through 4 torture methods: well done, medium, rare, and raw. It was intentionally absurd and compared to Talking Tom, but more chaotic. In early 2024, it resurfaced due to viral memes on TikTok and Twitter. Though delisted, it gained meme status. Some thought it was removed for gore or 64-bit issues, but a former developer clarified it was because Dynamic Dust shut down, leaving the app unsupported. Despite the meme surge, the game was hard to find. No IPA files existed, and no Android version had been released. Old YouTube reviews preserved it. Eventually, Sebastian said on Reddit he was working on a re-release. On August 2nd, 2024, Internet Archive user Dipper Gaming uploaded the IPA, originally dumped by user Kako. On August 4th, 2024, Sebastian officially re-released the game on the App Store, citing its unexpected popularity. As of now, it's only available in the US, though accessible internationally with a VPN. If this app never became a meme, it would still be lost today.
Get Free Rome album. Get Free was a planned studio album by Rome Ramirez, best known for fronting the group Sublime with Rome after joining forces with the surviving members of the legendary ska band Sublime. The album was slated for release on August 12, 2014, and was to feature 12 tracks blending original material with a few Sublime covers. Despite multiple promotional efforts and the release of 4 official singles, Scream, 18, Terrorista, and If the World, the full album never officially came out. Though some content from the project did make its way online, the majority of the album remains unreleased. The reasons for the album shelving were never publicly confirmed, and it has since gained a degree of lost media status amongst fans.
Minecraft Story Mode is a point-and-click episodic game by Telltale Games, announced in December 2014 as a collaboration with Mojang. The game follows Jesse and friends trying to stop the Wither Storm by reuniting the Order of the Stone. Its first trailer debuted at Minecon 2015 and was based on an early build with several notable differences from the final release. It's unclear if the Minecon build was ever fully playable or just promotional. Key differences include Luca's alternate outfit with a cowboy hat and sleeveless jacket, Perta giving Jesse cobblestone instead of Jesse finding a sword in a chest, Ivor handing a diamond to Perta, which doesn't happen in the final, a cutscene of Axel talking about stealing, Jesse initially discovering the command block on a table rather than behind a secret passage, etc. The trailer also included unused voice lines, a different Nether portal scene, alternate Ocelot character designs, and the absence of Gil. Whether the Minecon 2015 version was ever publicly playable remains unknown. Some believe it was a scripted demo made in Telltale's engine, however assets like Lucas' early models still exist in the final game's files, giving insight to this unreleased version of the game.
This next case of lost media is actually for 2016 and 2017. That's no other than the Bluey Pilot. Bluey is a popular Australian animated series that follows the adventures of a 6-year-old blue heeler puppy named Bluey, alongside her younger sister Bingo and their parents Chili and Bandit. Before its official debut in 2018, 2 early pilots were produced to help pitch the show, the first in 2016 and second in 2017. The 2016 pilot was a short 1-minute animation that focused on Bluey playing on a swing. In the clip, she swings higher and higher until she eventually loops all the way around and accidentally crashes into her dad, who had been distracted. This version was created in showrunner Joe Brum's spare time and wasn't meant for public release. According to Brum, the scene was just unsafe, and never something they would have put on children's television. The second pilot, made in 2017, was 6 minutes long and served as the basis for what would become the show's episode The Weekend. This version featured the same voice actors and a similar script, but had a much more basic art style. The animation included white plank walls in the family's home and used the song Pinball Les by Custard as the theme music, with a child's voice shouting "Bluey Ruff Ruff" over it. This pilot was first shown at the Asian American Summit in 2017 and helped secure interest from both ABC and BBC. Images from the 2017 pilot were provided by Studio Ludo in a 2017 ABC article, and a minute of footage surfaced online later that year. For the longest time, it was assumed the 2016 pilot wouldn't ever be released, due to concerns about how its content might be interpreted by young viewers. However, on February 4th, 2023, Twitter user ThatOnePickle uploaded the full 2016 short after receiving it from an anonymous source. 5 days later, that user also released the full 2017 pilot via the same source. Although some sources have hinted that the pilots may be longer than what's currently available, this remains unconfirmed. No additional footage or extended versions have surfaced, and it's unclear if they even exist.
Between December 1st and Christmas Day, Cartoon Network UK would air a series of holiday-themed bumpers starring the Adventure Time character Ice King. These segments, exclusive to the United Kingdom, featured Ice King causing various Christmas-related disruptions. While the exact year the bumpers began airing is unclear, the earliest known instance dates back to 2015. They are believed to have stopped airing after 2018, likely due to the conclusion of Adventure Time earlier that year. Only a portion of these bumpers have been preserved, with others still considered lost. Each year, starting around December 1st, Cartoon Network UK would broadcast short clips showing Ice King engaging in mischievous holiday antics, such as stealing presents, ruining carols, or destroying decorations. These segments were framed as news reports, with a fictional anchor covering Ice King's daily efforts to sabotage Christmas. Viewers were also encouraged to participate in a promotional contest by spotting Ice King and visiting the network's website for a chance to win prizes. As for what's been recovered, only a handful of these bumpers have been archived in full. The YouTube channel, Regular Capital, uploaded the December 25th bumper in which Ice King reforms as Nice King, along with another where he steals gifts from under a tree. Due to their niche nature and limited exposure, many of the bumpers are presumed lost. However, in September 2023, Lost Media Wiki user Lethally Stupid managed to recover 3 missing bumpers. These included Ice King stealing a tree star, pelting carolers with snowballs, and making a surprise appearance behind the news anchor. More footage surfaced on October 8th with the discovery of a bumper showing Ice King tackling a snowman. Further discoveries came in December 2023 when user SpongeDan found 6 more bumpers. Among these was when Ice King stole a flute from a fireplace, another promoting a Christmas giveaway in collaboration with Hasbro, and a variation of the flute bumper told as a news report. Additional clips showed him altering a snowman's face and stealing another star. Then, finally, in January 2024, a shorter version of the Christmas Carol bumper would be found, adding to the slowly growing collection of recovered bumpers.
Cats, the 2019 film adaptation of the iconic Broadway musical. It became widely ridiculed for its bizarre visual effects, especially the use of CGI to turn actors into humanoid cat hybrids. But what truly captured the internet's imagination was the rumored existence of a version of the film where the characters had visible anuses, unofficially dubbed the Butthole Cut. The story first gained traction on March 17, 2020, when Twitter user @JackWaz claimed a VFX artist who worked on Cats told him that they had been hired late in production to digitally remove several CGI-rendered cat buttholes that had been accidentally or bizarrely added to the film. The tweet quickly went viral, especially after actor Seth Rogen amplified the post while live tweeting a viewing of the movie, calling for the butthole cut to be released. The meme spread further when big names like filmmaker Ryan Johnson joined in on the joke. The following day, on March 18th, Twitter user Ben Meckler posted a screenshot of an email allegedly from a VFX artist who worked on the film. While denying any intentional design of buttholes, the anonymous artist said that in some shots, the skin and fur simulation folded in a way that unintentionally resembled genitalia or anuses. These awkward mishaps, they explained, were flagged during daily reviews and cleaned up in post-production. According to them, the uncomfortable review sessions often involved crew members nervously asking things like, "Does this look like a fanny to you?" Despite this clarification, many remained skeptical, with speculation growing that the studio might be covering something up. The buzz only intensified when actor Robert Fairchild, who played Monk Ustrap, told Page 6 that he had seen the version himself. According to Fairchild, not only were there buttholes, but his character was initially given 8 nipples that were radioactive pink. On March 19th, Vanity Fair journalist Johanna Desta published an article titled, "We spent 24 hours searching for the elusive butthole cut of Cats." In it, she detailed her investigation into the story, including reaching out to @JackWaz and contacted representatives from Universal and the VFX studio. Due to NDAs, neither party confirmed nor denied the cut's existence. Whether it was real or the result of visual glitches blown out of proportion, the butthole cut of Cats quickly cemented itself as one of the most bizarre and infamous lost media rumors of the 2020s.
Made by Maddie was a preschool animated series, originally set to premiere on Nick Jr. on September 13th, 2020, but was abruptly pulled due to controversy due to its character designs. First introduced at Nickelodeon's 2018 upfront under the title Fashion Alley, it was created by Paula Rosenthal and produced by Silvergate Media. The show followed Maddie, a fashion-loving girl in New York City, supported by her mom Dee. It promoted themes of creativity, kindness, and individuality. Just days before its premiere, viewers pointed out striking similarities between Made by Maddie and Hair Love, the Oscar-winning short by Matthew A. Cherry. After a viral tweet comparing visuals from both, Cherry clarified Made by Maddie was not affiliated with his upcoming Hair Love series and accused director Floria Wagner of copying character designs. In response, Nickelodeon delayed the show indefinitely and no episodes aired. The show's trademark expired in August 2021, and for years, only limited material like promos and the planned episode summary for If the Glue Fits and Mini-Me DJ was available. On May 22, 2024, 3 episodes, The Great Butterfly Escape, Doggone, and the holiday special A Very Maddie Christmas were leaked anonymously via Mega and shared with the Lost Media Wiki, along with a storyboard for another episode, Maddie's Musical Adventure. Despite the controversy, the show remains notable for its sudden cancellation and resurgence out of nowhere. The Powerpuff Girls is an animated action comedy franchise created by Craig McCracken that originally aired on Cartoon Network from 1998 to 2005. The show centers on Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup, 3 superpowered kindergarteners created when Professor Utonium accidentally added chemical X to his mixture of sugar, spice, and everything nice. The trio soon take on the role of Townsville Defenders battling supervillains. The franchise later saw a reboot that aired from 2016 to 2019, though it received mixed and negative reception. In contrast, a separate reboot involving McCracken was reportedly in early development. Then on August 24, 2020, the CW announced plans for a live-action adaptation titled Powerpuff. The concept of this new series aged the characters into their 20s and reimagined them as disillusioned young adults. In this version, the girls had been forced out of Townsville following backlash when Blossom killed the villain Mojo Jojo. Traumatized by their childhoods being consumed by superhero duties, the girls had gone their separate ways, only to reunite years later. The show leaned into slice-of-life storytelling rather than action, focusing on fractured relationships, personal struggles, and frequent pop culture references. Filming for the pilot took place in April 2021, but the episode was quickly shelved after reportedly poor test screenings. 2 early versions of the pilot script, dated January 18th and February 9th, 2021, were leaked online shortly afterward, both drawing widespread criticism from fans and media outlets alike. On May 18th, 2023, the CW officially canceled Powerpuff after 2 years of redevelopment. Star Chloe Bennett, who was cast as Blossom, had already exited the project, contributing to its collapse. The pilot was never publicly released, and due to the overwhelming negative reception towards its concept, it's unlikely to be officially shown. However, rumors persist that copies of the pilot may be circulating privately. The only known footage from the pilot comes from a teaser reel shared in 2022 by a member of the production team who had worked on its special effects. I have no idea why they thought that this was a good idea in the first place, because we literally got Bubbles selling herself on the street.
On February 10th, 1976, Sesame Street aired one of its most infamous episodes, episode 847, which featured Margaret Hamilton reprising her iconic role as the Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz. The episode would only be shown once due to the reaction it received. In the story, the Wicked Witch drops her broom while flying over Sesame Street. David finds it and refuses to return it. In retaliation, the witch threatens to turn David and Big Bird into a basketball and a feather duster respectively, and warns she might make it rain inside Mr. Hooper's store. While most of the residents are fearful, Oscar the Grouch is charmed by her and even develops a crush. Eventually, Big Bird begins to sympathize with her as well, and feels sad when she leaves, only to drop her broom again as a final gag. The response from viewers was swift and overwhelmingly negative. The Children's Television Workshop received numerous complaints from concerned parents, who said that their children had been frightened by Hamilton's appearance. Despite holding test screenings in March to assess the episode's impact, where reactions varied, especially among children watching in black and white, CTW's research department ultimately decided that the episode was too intense for young viewers. It was pulled from circulation and has never been re-aired. Interestingly, Hamilton had appeared as herself on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood a year later, calmly explaining to children that the Wicked Witch was only a character. She also portrayed the witch in a much lighter tone on the Paul Lynde Halloween special later that same year, with neither appearance generating any backlash. In 2019, it was announced that the American Archive of Public Broadcasting would house over 4,500 Sesame Street episodes, including episode 847. However, the episode is only viewable in person at the Library of Congress. That same year, clips from the episode were shown at a special Lost and Found screening event at the Museum of the Moving Image in New York City, hosted by Craig Shemin of the Jim Henson Legacy. The event featured additional rare Sesame Street material and included a discussion panel with former head writer Norman Stiles, puppeteer Stephanie D'Abruzzo, and Sesame Workshop's Rosemary Truglio. Despite its rarity, the full episode eventually surfaced online in June 2022, having been leaked anonymously. Due to legal concerns and previous drama around similar leaks, communities like the Lost Media Wiki have strongly discouraged users from sharing or linking to the episode.
Super Why is a computer animated children's show that aired from 2007 to 2016 on PBS Kids. It follows a young boy living in Storybook Village who, along with his friends, jumps into storybooks to collect super letters that help solve problems. This series was originally conceived as Angela Santomero's master's thesis and predates her more well-known project, Blue's Clues. In its early stages, the show was envisioned as a stop-motion series and had a pilot produced by Cup of Coffee Studios in Toronto, Canada between early and mid-1999. At the time, the show was under the working title Super Why, and a pitch was made to Nick Jr. Despite being greenlit, the pilot was eventually shelved in favor for the show Oswald. Over the years, fragments of this early pilot surfaced. On February 19, 2021, the first unused theme song was discovered, although the audio was high-pitched and incomplete. A higher quality version was found on composer Nick Balaban's website. A second unused theme composed by Daniel LeBlanc was also found. LeBlanc later uploaded it to Pond 5 after alerting the creators had abandoned the pilot. Two clips from the pilots titled Opening Shot and Willa Blows were once available on Cup of Coffee Animation's former website. These clips came from a different version of the pilot that used altered music and background tracks. Unfortunately, these files were never archived. In May 2021, Lost Media Wiki user PDog64 found a listing for the pilot at a library, though only the audio was available. He uploaded this to YouTube on August 2nd. Later on January 2nd, 2023, a slideshow titled Next Generation Kids PBS Kids was found on Slide Player containing a render from the pilot and a placeholder logo. When editing the slideshow, an alternate version of the image appeared, showing a possible alternate title, Super Readers to the Rescue, which may have been considered around 2006. On June 12, 2023, YouTubers The Old Washington Resident and Melody recovered and released the full pilot after contacting the Annecy Film Festival, where the pilot had won an award. Until this point, it was believed that the audio PDog64 found matched the pilot itself, but it was proven incorrect upon the pilot's rediscovery. The original version of the show portrayed a 6-centimeter tall Super Y who lived in a library and leapt into storybooks for answers. He would interact with characters like the Three Little Pigs and Red Riding Hood to learn problem-solving skills. Several sources describe the pilot as using a mix of stop-motion and cutout animation. Descriptions mention a yellow-skinned girl character causing a small tornado, and Super Y interacting directly with viewers. Some early promotional materials describe the show's focus on encouraging reading skills and critical thinking in preschoolers, featuring characters who came to life within the pages of the book.
The Backrooms is a creepypasta that describes a surreal, endless dimension one can supposedly enter by unintentionally no-clipping out of reality. The space resembles a bland interior of an old office building, with damp carpeting, buzzing fluorescent lights, and sickly yellow wallpaper that, when put together, create a dreamlike liminal atmosphere. Since the original post that launched the Backroom mythos in 2019, internet users have been obsessed with finding the true origin of the eerie photo that accompanied the first 4chan thread, an image now inseparably tied to the concept. The idea of the Backrooms first appeared on May 12, 2019 in a thread on 4chan's Xboard, where users were asked to share unsettling images. One anonymous user responded with a short story, describing a glitch in reality that traps people in a never-ending yellow-tinted maze of empty rooms. The creepypasta quickly spread, with the attached image becoming the definitive visual representation of the Backrooms. That photo, however, predates the creepypasta itself. For a long time, the first known version of it on the internet was a 2018 upload on 4chan's B-board, where it was simply shared as a creepy image. The file name suggested to some that it could be a Unix timestamp dating back to July 15, 2012. If that were the case, the image might have originally surfaced years earlier, but despite the efforts of dedicated internet sleuths, no earlier upload would be found, at least until May 2024. Early in that month, I uploaded my video discussing my own research into this infamous piece of lost media. I debunked a few popular leads, talked about why the photo likely wasn't altered in any way, and offered my own theory as to what the space depicted in the Backrooms photo was. The consensus at the time was that it was an empty office space, but my conclusion was that it was likely a furniture store, which was either abandoned or under some sort of renovation. After this, progress will be swift. I attempted to rally support for the search in my video, and many new and talented researchers would join the effort on Virtual Carbon's Discord server, the main hub of the search effort. Multiple earlier uploads of the images would be found on 4chan archives by searching for the image hash. These uploads had a different name than the previously found versions, DSC00161.jpg. One of the researchers decided to search Twitter for that file name and came across a 2019 tweet that supposedly contained a link to a now dead website that hosted the original version of the image. Another user plugged this website into the Wayback Machine, and bam, mystery solved. In reality, the Backrooms image was originally from the website for a Hobbytown, USA location in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. It was taken in 2002 when the store was renovating for a newly acquired upstairs space to use for an RC car racetrack. And just what was that space originally? An empty furniture store.
Me and My Friends was a live-action pilot filmed at Nickelodeon Studios in Orlando sometime between September and November 1998. Created by Janice Bergs, the concept followed 4 full-body puppet characters as they went on imaginative adventures in their backyard. Although the pilot was ultimately rejected by Nickelodeon, it would later evolve into the CG animated series The Backyardigans in 2004 after being reworked into animation by Bergs. At the time, Bergs was working as a TV producer for Nickelodeon and was encouraged by executive Brown Johnson to develop a pilot. Drawing from her own childhood in Pittsburgh, she pitched Me and My Friends, inspired by the way she and her neighborhood friends would spend entire days inventing elaborate games in their backyards. Bergs imagined a musical show where kids could explore and problem solve through play, explaining that the backyard felt like its own world, making it the perfect setting for big adventures. The pilot featured 4 characters: Uniqua, a pink creature based on Bergs herself, Pablo, a nervous blue penguin, Tyrone, a laid-back orange moose, and Tasha, a self-assured yellow hippo. While their personalities remained consistent in the later animated series, there were small design differences. Uniqua had visible nostrils and a tail, Pablo's hat propeller was yellow, Tyrone wore a different colored shirt and had a stuffed bunny, and Tasha wore a bow. There were also 3 meerkat hand puppets and a more realistic backyard set, complete with a shed and gate, elements that didn't carry over to the Backyardigans. Costumes were created by Yvette Helen Studios in New York, and animatronic facial movements were designed by sculptors Yuji and Quinn, and the storyboards were done by Nickelodeon artist Thomas Henry. After filming wrapped, a commemorative plaque with the show's logo was placed on the studio's wall, honoring its productions. Nickelodeon ultimately passed on the pilot in favor of Dora the Explorer, but Johnson remained supportive of Berg's characters and encouraged her to try again in a different format. In the early 2000s, the concept was reimagined as a CGI project, eventually becoming the Backyardigans. The new version introduced a fifth character, Austin, who was not part of the original cast. The story theme in the pilot centered on how time feels slower when you're waiting, but passes quickly when you're engaged in play, an idea that would later evolve into the show's focus on imagination and creativity. Which is very ironic how the pilot is about waiting, considering we've been waiting for years for this pilot to resurface. Before June 27, 2025, the only known footage of Me and My Friends was a brief 3-second clip featured in a 2000 Nickelodeon Studios 10th anniversary compilation. Some promotional images and concept art were also known to exist, and the full pilot was eventually leaked on 4chan via Catbox and re-uploaded to YouTube by a user named The Love Sun. Its release was dedicated to Janice Berg, who had sadly passed away on March 2nd, 2024. However, the video was quickly taken down due to copyright claims from Paramount, but fortunately, the full pilot remains accessible through the Internet Archive. Thank you guys so much for watching till the end of this video, and sorry if I sounded weird, my nose is a bit stuffy, but I am super happy to announce that my next video is a big one because we're going to be talking about a rabbit hole that is super disturbing, creepy, and degenerate because it's actually kinda gross, which is a rabbit hole that has not been mentioned on YouTube just yet, and I will be the first one. Unless some other YouTuber discovers this unknown rabbit hole and does the video before me, which I'll be very sad about. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in my next video. See you guys.